Alright, welcome to Game 2 of this 1v1 Champions series between YerAnd and Blues. Blues currently has the lead in a best of 5 or 7 series. I should know, but I forgot to look.
Best of 5, yep.
That is my co-host, Terra Incognita. I'm Superpanic, and this is a ugly mapped.
There's one spot on this map. I wonder when we're going to see somebody found robotic in this patch of combo tiles right here.
Right. That is
I'm expecting it very soon.
Spot. Both players are... There we go, YerAnd takes it.
There it is, YerAnd for 32.
That seems quite fair.
So
Blues taking the second best spot.
Yeah, pretty much strictly inferior spot with no aluminum next to him.
The only place that might be better for Blues to found is a little bit further north, is going to be closer to that aluminum, less shipping distance. But the iron's not as good. Trade-off.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's a bunch of trade-offs, whereas YerAnd basically has everything he needs right next to him. Very little water on this map. Only 8 plots in total.
We do have a
so
chemical
not surprising.
colony.
Yeah, not surprising that both players went robotic.
It'll be interesting to see who decides to grab this medium carbon tile here.
Oh, YerAnd made so much money on that aluminum. He sold a bunch of it down and got the upgrade pretty much immediately, and he's gonna get so much in income as well. He's gonna get those 2 combo tiles. One of them is a high iron tile, and he's just gonna be able to make so much metal from that. So again, Blue's trying to respond with some iron and steel of his own. No aluminum though.
He is moving.
Oh, he does have the aluminum, in fact. Yeah, he does have the aluminum.
Tile. Also moved into some gooned water because there are nukes on the map.
Yeah, and I would expect, what are Offworlds like? Yeah, food is the launch, so I would expect that to come into play at some point. Probably a smart move to do that nice and early.
Also, he has to sell it down for MITS 20, make a little bit of money off of it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't very expensive, was it? It was $20, but still, that's not nothing. So who has a lead here? I'm not.
YerAnd has a slight lead, is about 2k. It's 2k. YerAnd has the upgrade. Blues is still about 1.5k away.
It's less of a lead than I would have expected. To be completely honest, they both upgrade within a few seconds of each other. 2 geotherms come down immediately from YerAnd. He claims those. Presumably, he doesn't have the steel to actually use them yet.
And claims that medium carbon that I mentioned earlier.
Ah, yes.
Blue's going for 1 geothermal vent. And where are the rest of his claims? He's still holding on to them for a moment. Deciding to connect up that geothermal vent with a 1 farm.
It is interesting that YerAnd's gone so heavily into power, just because he's in nearly 50,000 of debt now, and the prospect of making any money on the power is not very realistic, certainly in the short term. So Blue's just sort of doing enough to tread water in that sense. He's going to put his geotherm down, use it to boost out his farms a little bit as well. It'll give him a little bit of a bonus. But YerAnd certainly, he's got a long way to go before he starts making power money.
Right. I guess he sees that Blues isn't moving into that geotherm quickly, so perhaps it makes sense. We'll see.
Yeah, and with steel at $20, it doesn't cost, an aluminum at $1. It doesn't cost very much to do that.
Now he's moving into wind turbines from some of that.
Oh, and there's a dust storm coming as well. So YerAnd is just going to try and go heavily into power. Having crashed the steel price, I guess he can just buy his steel now. With pretty much whatever. Well, he doesn't have any money at all, so I don't know. He's basically going all in on this power play, and if he doesn't make any money from this power, I think it's going to be very difficult for him to recover in this game.
Right. He is making 1.2k a second, so starting off.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Debt is flying down really fast. The question is, will it fly down fast enough? Blues, unlike YerAnd, does have a source of income, making 96 a second on farm.
Yeah.
But otherwise, neither player really has any source of income. at this time.
Yeah, YerAnd looks like he is going to make power money though, and that dust storm comes in as well just in time. It's not going to crash the price in time, so he is certainly going to make some money from this. And because the resources are so cheap, again, we saw this in a few games last week, resources so cheap for these players, he's going to get the upgrade almost immediately.
Mm-hmm. Blues freezing some of that power, but it might be too little too late.
Yeah, I guess it's not because he had absolutely no steel.
That price is crashed now too, so...
Yeah, so maybe he doesn't get the upgrade immediately. He's still a few thousand away from it. Blues instead... Yeah, he's only a couple of thousand away. He's just really missing the electronics. So as soon as he's able to pick those up, which will be momentarily, I would think.
Electronics, the only upgrading resources, remain stubbornly high. YerAnd is still 14k away.
Yeah, and Blues gets the upgrade first. And I wonder, because he doesn't have any steel at all, YerAnd, and the price is very slowly but steadily climbing.
So that freeze may have been more... The benefit of that freeze might be that Blues froze YerAnd's steel rather than freezing YerAnd's power.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, he does have a little bit of money, and so he can purchase most of it, but it's not quite all of it. And those wind turbines aren't very useful anymore.
In fact,
neither of those two geotherm claims.
Scrapped and are waiting to be turned back into steel mills, I would assume.
Yeah, and you can see, so YerAnd's, I mean, I just want to point out the geotherm situation here. YerAnd heavily committing into those geotherms, but notice that he's not anywhere near any of his stuff with those geotherms. Blues only went into one geotherm, so he only used the one claim, and it's giving him a bunch of adjacency as well on his, what are now electrolysis reactors and chem refineries too. YerAnd's are sort of out in the middle of nowhere and not really doing anything, and certainly at the moment they're doing absolutely nothing.
Right. Blues has his power almost covered, so I'm not sure that power is actually going to recover this game at all. With 3 geotherms between 2 robots, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, the geotherm situation is, I would imagine that it won't. I think it'll be at $1 for forevermore.
Right, yeah, YerAnd's 2.4 power, so more than covering both his power and Blues' power.
Yeah, absolutely. And no power colonies, or no power modules on the colony. YerAnd hits 4 and takes water, so he takes the high water just below him. And he actually delayed the upgrade a little bit there, just so he could mess with Blues' chems. Blues not having any carbon to speak of, and YerAnd jacked up the price momentarily just so the chems wouldn't make any money.
YerAnd putting the spy down on Blues' high water pump, definitely thinking about nuking it. I would expect to see Blues consider something similar for YerAnd's water pump. Yeah,
I'm honestly very surprised that we haven't seen a nuke yet from Blues on these combo tiles. Again, I mean, it's the same situation that we had last week, I guess, with the black market being so expensive because resources were so cheap. But he has frozen out his steel a couple of times, and he's done it just there again.
Steel and electrolysis.
Yeah, and a much lower value power surge that was also more expensive for YerAnd on the 2 electrolysis. So again, Blues is just winning these sort of very small exchanges, and that leads him to getting to 5, quite significantly ahead of YerAnd. And steel's now suddenly at $100, so no cheap upgrades anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What is going? Why is Blues building 2 solar panels? That's very curious to me.
I guess he wants a.
That's just for the adjacency.
Right.
Is that just for the adjacency?
It has to be just for the adjacency. He's now getting 3.5 on that water pump.
That's incredible to me that he's done that.
Versus if we take a look at YerAnd's only getting 2.
And it's not like silicon's really cheap. Silicon's $75, so that's a large commitment.
$75 after both solar panels have been built. It was probably half that before.
Yeah, he probably only paid
a decent amount of money.
Paid half of that on average, but yeah, I mean that's a lot of money to spend on something like that. And
the benefit of doing it this way, though, is you get some flexibility with those claims, versus if he was going to another tile, another medium,
that's
tile.
true.
Now he has 2 tiles they has to defend from nukes.
Yeah,
with
he can repurpose
9k. Well, that's
he can repurpose it pretty much anytime he wants.
Now, Blue's price for goons is 14k.
I'm a little concerned for YerAnd because he's still a long way from this upgrade. He's still 20k away, and a hacker array coming down now for Blues. So we'll see him mess with a few prices momentarily, I'm sure. And again, YerAnd just not really able to make very much money. Only really his farms are significantly profitable. Those geotherm claims doing absolutely nothing now.
Right, the lesson of this game might be not to get too cute with your power play in a 1v1.
Yeah,
unless
I mean, it was
like we've seen in some of the previous games where Death Tacticus, for example, was able to keep Black Magic's power off completely, pretty much the entire game, and that it worked. But in this case, neither YerAnd really wasn't able to keep Blue's power offline, so...
Well, it was just such a heavy commitment. It was 2 geotherms that he put down pretty much immediately on hitting HQ3. And the fact that, I mean, you only get 3 claims as a robot per level in the early levels, so 2/3 of his claims for that level that he just put on those geotherms, banking on making some money. He made a little bit of money, but only really a few $1,000s. And really that's
probably
that commitment has cost him the game.
Regretting not putting a goon squad on his only water tile.
Yeah, that's going to be really painful for him. He's not really got any water. Although, I mean, life support prices aren't huge. Offworld's like food is the launch. That's the big problem for him.
He just moved into this patch of 3 water. Oh, using the core sample created the patch of 3 water.
Oh, I see.
I was like, there's no way I missed 3 water. It's true. We didn't miss 3
I think there was 1 there already, and YerAnd creates the patch of 3. And I don't know, like I mean, water's not... I mean, Blues has enough water, question mark? Maybe he doesn't have enough water. Maybe that's a problem for him going forward. Is that with the Offworld launch being food, which I'm pretty sure he definitely shouldn't be selling down, by the way, right now. With the Offworld launch being food, if it gets to that point, and it might not get to that point, maybe that's what Blues is thinking. That he can perhaps finish the game before then with the hacker array. But if it does get to that point, it's going to be really difficult for him to make enough food, and that's going to be damaging for him. Food's worth $4.90 now.
Blues is selling down the food because he doesn't want YerAnd to make any money. Blues only has 1 farm versus YerAnd's 2.
Yeah,
and he was successful in that venture. YerAnd's farms turned themselves off, or YerAnd turned his farms off.
They're all off at the moment. The water suddenly just crashed to $1.
YerAnd had a stockpile and just sold it down, I believe.
Okay. So again,
stockpile.
The money situation is kind of interesting. Blue's hanging on to all that silicon, and that's what he's hacking. So he's going to use that hacker array to make a bit more money. He's going to get 500 times 50-ish, so 25k from that. All else being equal.
And without a auction or a random event handing out claims, YerAnd has no way of getting into the silicon market.
Yep, he really doesn't.
With silicon coming in, so this hacker array is going to do a lot of damage for Blues.
And again, we've seen this before. He doesn't have any way to make money. His steel's not making money. His chems aren't making money. Electrolysis is making a little bit of money, but not very much. And again, he's got all those water claims and all those power claims, which the prices are so low. The only real way to make money is the hacker array, and Blues is using it to its fullest effect. He's going to go in now, having sold 120,000 worth of silicon. He did make about 25 from that, and he's going to try and use it to kill YerAnd, although he's a little bit short at the moment. He's about 30k short.
Short. Unfortunately, YerAnd is about 60k short of defending himself.
Yeah, and he's not making any money.
No. The only thing he has online with his electrolysis reactors making 50 a second, but most of them are frozen.
Yeah. He's got the two in the southwest, so he's getting about $100 a second, which isn't very much money. And yeah, he's still 60,000 short of defending himself. Blues hacking silicon once again. He's going to get, 200 this time, times 25, times 50, so 10k from this. Not quite enough for him to finish it, but getting there. Getting close. He's 20k away.
I'm impressed with your ability to do math unassisted with potentially millions watching.
I don't know, they're generally nice round numbers. I make sure they're nice round numbers. So it's a little bit easier, but thank you.
But YerAnd did finally nuke out Blues Silicon, so it's down to a trace tile. However, that might be a little bit too late.
Yeah, I would suspect so. Was it? It wasn't gooned, was it? It was just.
It was gooned. YerAnd
it was, and he popped it.
Right.
Okay.
Blue decided it was better to go for the buy than re-gooning. YerAnd, meanwhile, has gone into, I guess, Hail Mary play.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we can call this a desperation Offworld, can't we? At this point. Blues is, about 8,000 or so from killing YerAnd. YerAnd decides that the only way he can possibly win the game is if Blues makes no more money for the next 3 minutes and lets YerAnd get off several launches, which I'm not sure is going to happen. No,
I don't believe so either. YerAnd would need to kill what is making Blues money, these chems at 15 a second.
And electronics now as well at 63.
Yes.
So
those electronics with a power surge, and
he's very, very nearly there. He thinks he can get away with no more hacks. He's 2,000 away.
YerAnd thinks he's there too.
Yep, the GG being called.
Have the game agonizingly slowly right now.
Down. There it is.
Blues takes game
2-0. 2-0 to Blues. He races out to that lead. Neither game particularly one-sided, but that one was a little bit more one-sided just because Blues got those early advantages, and really it was all about that power. It was all about the geotherm decisions, I think.
By YerAnd, that was definitely, we were questioning it as it was happening, and it turned out to unfortunately be a mistake.
Just not quite able to make enough money, and Blues judging that he only needed the one geotherm to be able to crash power enough, and he also got a lot more utility out of his geotherm than YerAnd did.
YerAnd founded at, where were we, 32k in starting debt. He was up to 50-something K when he started paying down his debt, and only made 69k total off of that power. So that's a grand total of maybe 13k from that power investment.
Yeah, I think he, just from memory, I think he literally made a few $1,000s from that. He didn't quite make enough to get his upgrade, and his upgrade was something like 14,000.
Well, this 13k is including all those 1 and 2 per second throughout the entire game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, right at the end.
When his geothermal vents were making nothing.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe if he got to that upgrade, it was a gambit that possibly could have paid off. He would still have been at quite a significant long-term disadvantage just because he used the claim and wasn't really able to get anything else from it in terms of adjacency. I guess he got the one farm down next to it later on in the game. But there we go, game 2. So Blues 1 game away from taking the Autumn Championship 1v1 crown.
Yeah, so just before we leave, I do want to point out once again that very nice boost the water pump using the robot's advantage with power, turning that water pump to a 3.5.
That was really cute, wasn't it? I was pleased to see that. I guess the expensive way to do that is to get slant drilling, but when you're a robot, you can boost it out with a bit of adjacency.